find a Maria song.
Welcome back to Maria and Joe Live TV, and we have Maria
and Joe way over here.
Oh,
okay. Joe's way over here.
I thought it was here.
Oh my goodness,
Jim.
I'm the handsome one.
We still have the cast, the producer, and the song or
we're the
the
voices.
voice.
Yes.
The voice behind the Peter Pan. So go ahead and actually introduce yourself and tell us more about you guys.
My name is J.C. Tregarthen. I'm the voice of Smee, Mr. Smee, on the animated projects that's coming up.
And I am Daryl Culk. I'm the voice of Captain Hook.
Yes.
Ooh,
I know, it's ominous. It's kind of scary sitting next to him.
Well, first of all, how did you get picked to play these parts?
Our lovely friend here, Jim Presley,
he does look
us
lovely
to the project.
too.
He is. He's a lovely man. He's a good-looking man.
I met JC in California.
Yeah,
He's a
we've
big
known
Disney guy. He used to work for Disney.
Yes.
Okay.
He worked in the publishing department, and he worked with, what was some of iWorks? And
Production. I've worked production and soundtrack editing for Walt Disney Studios.
Tell the movies. He worked on some good movies too. Chicken Run.
I'm dropping some names here. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
What are some of the movies?
Well, I've worked for KLOS Radio, which is Disney affiliated. I've worked for the animated films Treasure Planet, Home on the Range, Chicken Little, The Wild, and various other things. Worked on Alias, the television show, as well as 8 Simple Rules with John Ritter.
Oh, Simple Rules.
Yes, and I've done voice acting for about, on and off for about 12 to 15 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we became friends. I would never leave him alone. I call him up. I wake him up.
He doesn't leave me alone.
Migraines. I go as
He
long
calls
as
me at 3 in the morning.
Is that right? What are friends
As long
for?
as he's,
What a guy.
Yeah.
living in Vegas now rather than California.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
me busy.
I've been here for about 2 years.
Okay.
On and off, and split my time between Southern California and here. But I'm loving it. I really love being here in Las Vegas. It's
That sounds like
calling me
radio.
home.
It's true. Actually, last week I spent the whole week in Anaheim, and
Oh,
Orange
nice.
right there outside.
Nice.
of
You were in our
Disney, and-
backyard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you got the Angels down the street and everything
do.
else.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty beautiful place to visit.
I'm reminded.
Las
I'm
Vegas.
reminded almost daily by friends that are still there. Yeah,
So what are you doing in
It's
Vegas?
but we have a lot of wonderful things here. It's a dry heat. We just have to be. You have to know that out there coming in. If you come to visit us here, just remember it's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
dry heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, bringing
Okay.
a humidifier just turns it into Florida.
Hydrate
It's
a
almost like
lot.
Florida.
Yeah, drink lots of water.
I can hear that. Well, Mr. Hook, or Captain
Captain
Hook,
Hook, yes.
Yeah.
what brought you to the animated voiceover world?
Well, actually, it was family connections. James here was friends with my father for a few years,
okay.
and my dad actually worked on some of the previous Disney projects, like the Pirates of the Caribbean. He was the voice of the Dead Men Tell No Tale.
That was filmed in my backyard,
and
actually.
then
The ship was.
and then also for the Grim Grinning Ghosts, he was the baritone ghost from the singing busts.
Oh,
and
nice.
so what happened was my dad passed a few years ago, but throughout my growing
Childhood.
up, throughout childhood with my dad, it's probably good to note that I'm 6'3" right now. I was 6'1" since I was 13. So as soon as he could, he was getting me into showrooms and bars around town where he would sing because he was an entertainer here locally. And so I was raised around musicians like Jim and some of the other guys in town, and they would teach me, this is how you project your voice, this is how you sing, and we'd do karaoke and every chance we could. I mean, fishing and karaoke, that was our father and son thing. And so
I would pay my lunch money to see that. I want to
right.
soon.
Karaoke with Dad. I can imagine that.
That's what it was, because it was one of those things. It's like I was always worried about, well, is the bartender going to card me? It's like you got a 1.5 feet on him. I don't think he's going to ask any questions.
I dare you.
Yeah.
Right.
So when it came time again for Jim to start doing the Disney voices, or when actually I should say initially when he was working with my father,
Yes.
who was actually Daryl Senior. I'm Daryl Junior, and so it was really easy to get just switch the title around, just 2 letters at the end, and so.
Save a lot of money there.
Exactly, yeah, don't have to reprint everything. So what ended up happening was I would work with my dad when he was working on those initial projects with Jim, and we had very similar voices. We were both baritone. I would always sing baritone. And so when my dad could no longer fill the role, Jim asked if I'd step in. I was like, of course, I love Disney stuff. You know, I'm sitting here with a Stitch tattoo.
I see that.
Yeah, just because I'm a fan of Disney things, and I love Stitch. Which oddly enough, I can do voice of Stitch, which is not baritone range at all.
Really?
Yeah. Audio or it doesn't happen.
It's funny you mentioned you sound like your dad. I have a story about when I was a young teenager and dating this beautiful girl back in the day, and she called in. And my dad answered the phone and said, "Hey, Joe." He answers, "Yeah, same name." Mm-hmm. "Remember last night when we were here?" And my dad was like, "Well, I don't remember. Give me the details." And she would start talking like, "Oh, you must want my son." So, sounding like your parents isn't always a good thing, but in your case, it worked out.
Right.
Well, I just want to acknowledge Brianna. She said, "Captain Hook, I love you."
Wow.
Yes, thank
fans
you.
already.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
No
Let me
love for
tell you
Mr.
something.
Smee. That's okay.
I love Brianna
It's
too.
all right.
I don't get no love either.
I want to brag on Daryl, DJ. I call him DJ.
Yeah.
A little bit now. His dad was the voice of a couple of the Disney projects we did, and the Pirates of the Caribbean project that we did with Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. It's just, I put it up on YouTube. It sold out the day it was released. It sold out this particular edition.
Wow.
And I put it up like a year after we had it out. It's been up for nearly 3 years. It's the first song that I've had up that's reaching 500,000 views.
Is that right?
And
Wow.
and Daryl, this is going to be, now that was his dad. He did a couple of those in Grim Green Ghost. His dad's passed. This will be Daryl's debut really on this particular project. Ooh. And it's great. It reminds me almost like when you think of Rex Allen and Rex Allen Jr. Rex Allen Jr. I think surpassed his dad. He's the one that wrote their state song. I Love You, Arizona.
Love You, Arizona.
But Rex Allen Jr. That's what's going to happen with DJ when this comes out. His voice is so huge on this. There was parts where he was yelling out to Pan, "Who's that using my voice?"
Booming.
And I said, "Daryl, we got to move the mic." I bet a half a dozen times we had to move across the room and move the mic because it would shake the rafters. And
stuff.
it's probably the best Captain Hook voice I think that's ever been.
Wow.
Well, I appreciate that, but I just tried to. I don't really know what I try to channel with that. In my personal time, I'm really into the pirate lifestyle in the sense that I'm actually a parrot head. I'm a Jimmy Buffett fan.
Oh.
So my backyard's actually Caribbean themed. I fly a pirate flag year round.
Do you have an eye patch in the car with you?
I have one in the house though somewhere just in case.
You never know.
Exactly.
You got the pirate hat and the eye patch and the parrot somewhere too.
I'm always curious how this animated movie behind the scenes voice is just really curious. Out of curiosity, I said how they can actually really do that. So if I may, I would like to ask some sample from you guys.
Ooh.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh, as far as the voices or the process of the animation?
The voice. Yeah.
Oh.
You want to hear the
I think we're
voices?
just hearing the voices.
Oh, we're going to do the voices?
Give him one of them big lines.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We don't have any lines.
We can add
Play off of one
we
another.
can
Well, that's
add.
the thing, because
That's what it's all about.
There's four of us up here. I think we've seen whose line is it
surprised-
anyway enough. We can handle that.
listen to the playback like
We did
500
scenes from a hat.
times.
Let's do scenes from a hat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go. Look, I just happened to find the
Oh, he
script.
just happens to have our lines.
Just
See,
Y'all can pass it around.
that's
Just
why
read
we're
it.
friends.
Give him a
Oh
little
no, I
bit
have to
of
get my eyes. Hold on.
Oh,
One
that.
moment,
Is that in the
please.
Mermaid's Lagoon area?
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the Mermaid's Lagoon there.
Oh.
Are you going to be one of the mermaids? Because, we
Oh.
have four of them.
You gotta be a mermaid or it don't count.
Oh, let's see
Take your pick.
here. Oh, I'm waiting for the. Let's see. There's a.
Channel my inner Smee again.
Yes, we
It's been
are.
a
For
while.
those who just joined in, we have the Peter Pan cast here. the voice behind the movie.
So we don't give away the thing here.
On the Maria and Joe live TV.
So I think we should probably
Yeah,
do after that one.
Mario and Joe
Oh, wait,
live
after
TV.
Wendy's, so I guess I'll have to start this one.
Now you're gonna have to pull
Okay.
that mic back when he lets it out.
That'd be hard. Okay.
Oh no, we might have to. Well, we have to get it up. If you want, I think we may have to figure out a way to hand it off because some of the things are quieter. Because you were asking how it's done. So there's not to if you don't mind. There's some scenes where like when you're going to see in the finished animation, I'm sure, just like you would in an action film. There's some scenes where I'm as Captain Hook. He's there. His crew is there, but his crew is also kind of if he needs to. So there's parts where he's in on Shmi talking to him quietly. Then there's like screaming out loud.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want me to scream out loud?
Oh no, we'll get there.
Oh, you'll hear him.
Well,
You
to
won't
take
have to
turns
scream.
screaming
Oh
then.
no, we'll get it. So let's see here. So I guess we'll start with that one.
Okay.
So the game's up, Smee. Those boys have found a mother.
What's the matter?
Oh, you lost it already.
Listen, what was that? Where's Tiger Lily?
It's all right, Captain. We let her go.
Let her go!
You,
I forgot the line.
it was your own orders. We caught her from the water and we let her go.
Brimstone and gall! What trickery is here? Lads, I gave no such order. Spirits that haunt this dark lagoon tonight, dost thou hear me?
I'm afraid all over again, and I wasn't even in the room with him when he did it.
And you know what? The Captain Hook character, the characters are being developed now.
fun.
I love it.
Oh my
He
God.
Oh yeah,
almost
next time
looks
we
like-
gotta do this live.
Almost looks like Captain Morgan.
Oh my
Yeah, a little
God.
bit.
Oh,
Yeah, just enough of that Caribbean vibe in there for it to.
Out there, just like we don't even know their hair is blowing back.
I bet it is.
Everything. It was awesome.
Can I try one?
Oh yeah, we got 4 different mermaids you can
Which
choose
one?
from too.
Oh yeah. Jim, I think you know the script better than I do.
Let me
I'm
see.
gonna try one.
It's like a
viewers.
mermaid in his past life.
Stay tuned because I'm gonna do something.
She's gonna do a voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a voice.
be a future
let me
tune.
See.
So we got
Let's
Tunes.
oh,
Tunes.
here we go.
tunes,
Bring back Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
right?
Tell me next.
Okay, right. Let me see.
Shine vanilla.
Right here, number 4. Yeah,
I'll try. Is it night? How are you?
midday. It's past midday.
Which character is she?
She's a mermaid number 4.
Oh, just talk sultry, talk sexy.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my.
You know,
Oh,
sexy with intent.
Sexy, number 4.
But that means you have to have Joby Peter, just because otherwise you're going to have lines with nobody to go with.
But we're only
Oh,
trying
God.
to drown her. I think something like that.
Oh my.
I couldn't read it. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Alrighty.
Sultry.
It's past midday and it's getting dark now. It's past midday and it's getting dark now.
Let me see.
Did I
Our
pass?
mermaids just got exotic. None of our mermaids had accents.
That's why I go
We need to
through
add
it.
a 5th mermaid to this story.
The 4th mermaid actually is from Asia.
Nice. Very, very
Now, one
nice.
of the mermaids that's on here, we got 4 different mermaids. One of them
Yeah.
is being reprised by one of the original mermaids.
That's true.
Oh wow.
The lady who was actually Tinkerbell, Margaret Carey, I told you guys about, she
Right.
was also one of the mermaids in the same movie. She's the voice of the mermaid, the redheaded mermaid, and she'll be reprising her role on here. She says it's a little bit different
Really?
because you can't get in trouble for copying someone else's script.
Right.
We have our own script, but
Right.
she's there. So the mermaid section's going to be really cool. And my wife Carol, she's a mermaid, and I have some friends that and the lady who has been a female vocalist with my band for several years, and I've worked with her for several years with another band. She's one of the mermaids, and her son is Peter Pan. So it's like a giant big family
Yes.
thing.
Oh my
reunion.
God. That's how it is.
A lot of
It's about
performers.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap
Yeah.
plug. My mother is the 4th mermaid.
Oh yes, yes,
Is that
yes.
right?
Yeah, we were doing. I was coming over to Jim's house.
Yeah.
You know, endlessly to do this thing, working back and forth and
Sure.
everything. And vicariously, Margaret Carey is a family friend, so she was
Okay.
like, "Oh, she found out how this was going," and I said, "Well, get in the car, come on over and see what we do." And my mom has had voiceover training herself,
Sure.
so
Nice.
she became a mermaid.
What's your mom's name?
Karen.
Karen.
Yes.
Mom Karen. Hi, Mom Karen. Thank you.
So it's
And
kind
her
of fun.
voice never changed.
Wow.
So she's one of those voiceover characters that can do children's voices, and you think you're hearing a child on TV.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt about that because I've seen people who actually talk like their child,
Yeah.
or even though how doesn't matter what age.
How old are you?
I am actually 25.
25 years old.
Already? Wow, I'm
I
impressed.
just turned 25.
I'm 83.
Wow.
I just celebrated the 26th anniversary, my 26th birthday.
There you go.
I don't want to age
It's
anymore.
not
I
talking
just
about age. We're talking about Peter Pan cast right
who
here.
never ages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
never
yeah,
grows
he
old.
never ages.
Yeah, he's a
I
lost
like
boy.
that.
And
Lost
people are
boy,
going
right.
like, I'll give you one little tidbit, and I'm not giving anything away, but this is cool. People are going to really like this. It will separate it a little bit from some of the other Peter
Yeah.
Pan movies. The children are brought up, the family is brought up a little bit to date,
Wow.
but Peter Pan never ages.
Wow.
So when they go to Neverland, they are back in that time frame. And so people are really, really going to like this. It's
Oh
very
my God,
cool.
you guys gonna
I
love
see where it's
it.
going.
So
Yeah.
you were saying that you already have a launch date?
Well, we have a tentative one. We're shooting for Margaret, who's one of the big stars, and she was the lady who was 1953 Tinkerbell, and she was also a mermaid in the original Peter Pan. Her birthday is May, is it 10th or 11th?
11.
May 11th. So that's what we're shooting for.
Wow.
Now, I don't want to put a specific deadline to everyone because this is not something where people are making a lot of money. It's a charity, and we're putting in our time. So I'm saying, let's shoot for it, guys. If we make it, fantastic. If we don't, that's okay. But it's going to be a huge event when Margaret turns 90. Margaret was also one of the original television stars. She was on Spanky and the Gang, Little Rascals.
Really?
She was on the Andy Griffith Show.
Mhm.
If folks are my age or older, they may remember an animated feature, or the voice, Clutch Cargo was the name. Clutch Cargo, well, Margaret and her husband were the owners of that.
Wow.
And Margaret was Spinner, she was the dog, the voice of the dog would say, well, what do we do now, Clutch? So a lot of history there, but she's got thousands of people that follow her in the Disney circus, and she is about to become, we don't have a date yet, but she is going to become a Disney legend officially, which means she
Wow.
will get her own window on Main Street, USA at Disneyland when that
right?
happens for real. And
Wow.
you
So
can
we're
go
gonna
down.
get her here, right?
Yeah, I'll try.
We're
Yeah,
working
she's
on it.
actually going to be here next year
Yeah.
for a Comic Con type thing. And I'll get with you ahead of time, and we'll see if we can work that out where you can do an interview with her.
Should,
Yes. so
should we
you
go
guys-
ahead and
Yes, I would love
Yeah,
to have
good.
Margaret here.
should we go ahead and
Alright.
plug her book?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
Yes,
I
go
forgot.
ahead.
Go for it.
Margaret has an autobiography that is full of stories. I mean, this thing is seriously about almost 2 inches thick. It's been in the works for about 10 years or so, on and off.
All right.
And the only problem is that some of us helped her, and some of us, were giving suggestions because she would read the stories, and they're not necessarily chapters. It's unique that it's each chapter, if you want to call it that, is a story. So it's not so much one. It could be 2 pages long or 15 pages long. It just depends on what story she's sharing about her life, and it goes beyond just being attached to the Peter Pan project that people are familiar with her, but also back to her days of growing up and being a Little Rascal and the other projects, dancing, other movies and things like that, up to now. So the book is called Tinkerbell Talks. Was it Magical Stories of a Pixie Dusted Life, I believe.
Wow.
You can go on tinkerbelltalks.com. That's her website. That's her official website. And you can find her on Facebook as Margaret Carey as well. And you can order this book. It's amazing. Not just because she's near and dear to us, but
Sure.
it's a generally interesting and amusing read. You can literally hear her voice telling these stories as you read the book.
Wow.
Tinkerbell
Go out there and get
Talks.
that book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was on the Lone Ranger and many
She was in so many
TV,
things.
TV,
It's amazing.
big, and she talks about all of it. She tells you all the stories.
Wow, I would
For
love
better or
to
for
have one
worse.
of those books.
You know,
Whoa,
she
those
she
are-
she's
Yeah,
kind, but she doesn't pull the punches on certain things. But she does it in her own caring way. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
great.
amazing. And it's really cool that we see all these people with that heart, that big heart. Yeah. And I would like you guys to actually wait for that Peter Pan coming up soon.
Sometime.
There's no
Early next
actually.
year.
Yes. Only next year. Next
Coming
year is-
soon.
Yeah.
Coming
Coming
soon
soon.
in a
Coming soon.
theater near you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, any last words before I'm gonna let you guys go?
We're gonna bring on.
Last words?
No, we're gonna bring on the
Hey,
big cheese.
where do they find you, or do you guys want to plug in where your fans actually, especially you have a fan already, so where they can stop you?
It's always the guy on the hook.
They have they have their own sites. We also have a page that has been put up for the project, and it's Peter Pan's Magical World of Neverland. It's on Facebook. And everybody, just sort of the community, goes in there on that.
Nice.
Cast, that's the cast community. Everyone's welcome to go on there, but you'll see a lot of the cast members popping in there and putting things in there. They're on there.
Perfect.
And then they
Yeah.
also have their.
I'm gonna be sharing that on our page,
Oh,
and I would
thank you.
like to put that also on our website.
Okay, thank
Great.
you
So
so
wait,
much.
where
Thank
do they
you.
find you?
Well, with me, I actually have a company here in town called Neon Sun Media. So you can get a hold of me directly through neonsunmedia.com. As well as voice work and things like that. I also do other marketing and digital branding and things like that, where I help companies get their image out there, or in the event of if they need some type of like radio recording or voice work or something like that, I can help them with that, or work with James here, and we can get together and collaborate on projects.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
yes.
about
lots of
you?
collaborations. Basically, because I'm still a transplant from Southern California.
Luckily,
I'm happy about
luckily,
that, though. I'm not
Are
complaining.
you a legal immigrant in Nevada now?
I am not.
Oh, okay. He is a legal-
Well, it's interesting is my California driver's license now officially has my Las Vegas address on it, so I'm kind of like got a foot in
kinda
both.
in the transition.
Yeah, I'm doing it,
transition,
and
yeah.
and the DMV did it, so I'm not complaining. I'm just running with it. I'm going to ride that wave until they tell me I can't.
Right.
Basically, you can find me on Facebook, of course. Any of us that are attached to the Magical World project you can go on the page and locate us on that as well, right? The cast is broken down. Basically, what I am is basically a free agent now. You have voiceover work, getting deeply involved with. I can plug it. Can I? Central Henderson Church in Henderson. I'm very active in that. So we're talking about doing possibly a church-related podcast
Nice.
from the main campus there. So that's going to be in the works. I can't say that that's a lockdown, but we're hoping. We'll see what happens.
Collaborate too.
Praise God.
And I will be part of that. And I am looking for an entertainment podcast format here because I've done several of them in Los Angeles and Orange County, and I'm ready to bring my talents here.
Don't look around.
So,
okay?
So we all network.
okay. Well, maybe you'll see me here. That'll be
Where are
fun.
you looking around?
I am
Don't
a
look
free
far.
agent.
Look
So,
closer.
oh, okay. All right, you heard it here
from the-
from the sources. So I look forward to that.
I got one more thing I would like to mention for those that are watching. Now, we are all associated and Disney fans. We work with a lot of those artists. We don't get paychecks from Disney.
Not anymore.
The projects that the projects that I do are licensed.
Disney pay us.
They're
anymore.
licensed, but if we do have some Disney fans that are out there, follow us on this project, because one of the big things that the fans do is they will get into a Disneyana fan club. Now this is they have events in Anaheim and different states. One of the largest ones is called D23 that happens once every 2 years, and that's actually Disney. But it's called the Disneyana Fan Club. You can go to the DisneyanaFanClub.org, and their main chapter is there in Anaheim. And what happens with those folks, and also different chapters, is they will bring out voice characters. They will bring out animated people that do animation, people that have built things in the park, anyone that has anything to do with artistry, music, art. The voice of Goofy, Bill Farmer, will do things. You may
Mark
go
Silverman.
see the voice of Donald Duck. You can and hear all these stories. And here's the reason I mentioned that. JC and I have been threatening to start one of those chapters that is based out of Anaheim,
Right
here in
here.
Las Vegas.
Right here.
And the people in Anaheim are going crazy. The president of the chapter is going, you need to do that. I need an excuse to come to Las Vegas.
Like anybody needs an excuse,
Start
we'll
following.
bring the Disney
That
tribe
was
here
it.
too.
If you are a
We
Disney
should,
fan,
right?
There are so many. Well, there are so many Disney fans,
Yeah.
and like myself, there's a lot of California transplants here, and it's not just California. You got Florida and
I love
everywhere
the
else.
transplant.
But basically, you like that?
Yeah,
It's like
I love
other
it.
people from California that are here told me that. It's like I could be a
Really?
transplant. But it's basically
worse.
there are so many of us Disney fans and annual pass holders.
Sure.
I mean, literally, I would make the excuse, and it's not, it's a valid one, but it's not really so much an excuse, but the reason to go visit Southern California for any given weekend at least once a month, because my annual pass is paid monthly, so I need to kind of go every month at least once just to justify my payment.
There it
And
is.
while I'm
Tax
there,
deduction.
got to go to the beach and other California things. But for us to focus on doing a Disneyana group here would be huge, and hopefully a
Yes.
lot of us can get on board. We have a lot of these, like Jim says, we've got a lot of Disney affiliated peers and friends that would love to come out here and promote their projects and
Yeah,
things.
most definitely, yes.
And honestly, y'all, as far as Disneyana conventions, beyond what Jim was talking about, if you want to buy any memorabilia and things like this is the place you can go. I mean, I'm not going to call it a swap meet because this stuff is really good stuff, but you can find all sorts of items, collectibles, props from films, all sorts of things at these things. So check it out. It's twice a year, as far as I know.
great artists are there. Terry Harding is there, and she's a sculptor that sculpted a lot of things for Disney.
And puppeteer.
She goes all the way back. Yeah, she's a puppeteer. She
For the
was a
films.
puppeteer for Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters.
The Country
Now, you're
Bears,
talking about
the
people,
Country Bears movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Love
Country
it.
Bears, as she actually sang,
Yeah.
was Trixie.
She
Yeah.
was Trixie.
So, these people, and this is another thing that would be great. There's a lot of folks in Vegas that are working, and they can't afford the prices that are coming up.
Yes.
And they want to go to Disneyland. Well, this way, for way, way less, they
Sure.
can be a part of this, and it brings it here, and you actually get to go behind the scenes and meet people that are making
Yes.
movies, that are voiceover characters. It's just a really neat thing. It's a nice extension, and it helps your pocketbook. It's only like 35.
Yeah.
It's $35 a year for a family for the
Oh.
dues. So it's
Really?
nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And think about how much you have to pay over $100 a person for just a one-day pass in one park at
That's
Disneyland.
right.
So, you do something like that, and you have a lot of these vendors that come out too, and they're wanting to sell their product. So it doesn't raise your price. You have an opportunity to shop from some of their products.
Exactly.
And then also you'll have seminars where you get to hear all the stories, and it's just a
Love it.
fun thing. So follow us, follow what we're doing with Peter Pan, and follow the three of us on Facebook, because we're always talking about these things. And
Disney,
when they come
yes.
to pass, then that's how you can hook up and get into it.
We need-
Because this would be
Yes.
big.
We need to reiterate this Peter Pan animated project isn't a direct Disney affiliated project.
No, it's not.
So we want to make sure that we put that out there. But we are avid fans, and having Margaret Carey join us is just a treasure.
Yes.
So this is basically adding to her, legacy.
Doesn't get
if you
much
want to call
closer to
that.
Disney than
Yeah.
her.
So this is a gift of love from us. Like Jim said, the project is mainly and directly charity driven. But anything else that we move forward on is just within our heart.
Yeah. Now that said, other than Margaret, we do have a number of other previously Disney affiliated people working behind the scenes, even on the film itself.
Yeah.
Like I know we had the art director from Phineas and Ferb
Yeah.
working on
Really?
on the film itself
Okay.
and some of the other Disney XD shows, and so there's enough Disney affiliation there where I'm sure if the House of Mouse decided that they wanted to give us that brand,
Just saying.
I don't
Show them your ink.
You'll pay-
I don't think anybody would complain if they wanted to slap that brand or across the top of that, but
We'll do animated voices. We'll come to the park. We'll play.
yeah, exactly.
It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, it will happen.
Always open.
Well, You know what? We're having so much fun here, and it's a privilege to have you guys over here in our Maria and Joe Live TV. And we would love to get you guys back in the future.
Oh, we'd love to come
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come back when Margaret is over here, and hopefully she can be here prior to the release, which would be really nice. It was just
Oh,
a
that'd
few
be
weeks
great.
before the
Yes,
release.
yes.
That'd be great.
And
We
it's-
could show some clips or
It's-
something.
Yeah, it's probably not on this studio anymore because we are actually getting bigger. So you guys
nice.
actually wait for that.
Absolutely.
Well, but by saying that, we would like to go on break now, and we will be
Taking
right
a
back
break.
on our next.
Well, first of all, who's our next guest?
Oh, Steve Cremian is a songwriter, and I produce quite a bit of music here in town, and I work with indie artists, and he is a great indie artist and songwriter. And what I do for Steve is he will write his songs. He'll come into the studio. I'll do his arrangements, and he'll sing them, and then he'll post them. He'll submit them to publishers. But I wanted to bring him because he's written a couple of songs specifically for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're great.
Wow, that's a big
They're
thing.
great.
All right.
He's the
Thank you.
only
Go Knights.
person. He's the only
Forever.
person
Go Knights,
that's
go.
done it. It's on YouTube right now.
All
So
right.
we'll talk about
well,
that.
we'll talk about
Nice.
that in
On
our
the next
next
segment.
segment.
All
So
right,
we'll see
thank you,
back.
gentlemen.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. Appreciate
For
it.
joining us on the show.
Are you at a crossroads in your